So, what we're doing today is we're finishing up the note sheet over 1.4, equations of lines. Now, the first problem we're looking at here is this one. Two prom venues charge a rental fee plus a fee per student. The table shows the total cost of different number of students at Lakeside Inn. The total cost Y dollars for X students at Sunview Resort is represented by this equation. So it's saying for every student it costs $10, and then there is an initial cost of $600. So no matter how many students show up to Sunview, it's going to cost $600 to begin with, plus $10 per student. So the cost per student for Sunview is $10. Now, first question to ask is which venue charges less per student? And then the second question we want to answer is how many students must attend for the total cost to be the same? Well, we know for Sunview it costs $10 per student, but we do not know how much it costs per student at Lakeside Inn. So for Lakeside Inn, we're going to need to find the slope. Because if we find the change, the amount of change per student compared to the total cost, or the total cost compared to the number of students, if we find that change, we'll find the total cost per student. We're finding this change in Y over the change in X. Give me one of the Y values. Pick one of them.
Let's go ahead and do 18.
Okay. So we can put it first. And when we put it first, its corresponding X value, 125, is going to go first on bottom. Give me a different Y value. So 2400. We can put it as our other Y value on top, and its corresponding X value is 175. It does not matter which Y value we pick. We've just got to pick two of them, and they can't be the same one. Now all we have to do is simplify. So if we subtract 1800 and 2400, we would have negative 600. Negative, or 125 minus 175 is going to be negative 50. Now our negative 600 divided by negative 50, well, the negative and negative would indeed make a positive. And now we've got to divide 600 by 50, yes? But really we could say they both have a 0, same as 60 divided by 50. 600 divided by 50 is 12. So the slope is 12. And that's telling us that Lakeview is charging $12 per student. Well, there's going to be more to that equation. We'll get the rest of it soon. But that does give us an answer to the first question. Because the first question asks, which charges less per student? Sunview, because Sunview charged how much? Sunview charged $10 per student. Lakeside charged 12. It is cheaper per student. There's going to be a question like this, or similar to this on the homework. And that answer, you just have to say Sunview, if this was on the homework. Questions on this here? All right. So we've answered the first part of the question, which one charges less? Now the second part is asking How many students must attend for the total cost to be the same? Well, for us to be able to get there, we do need the equation of the line for Lakeside Inn. We need to find the equation of the line. Now, we could use the y equals mx plus b like we did yesterday if we know the y-intercept, if we know where it crosses the y-axis. However, Lakeside Inn does not give us that y-intercept. We don't know what the y value is when x is 0. It didn't directly tell us. So we're going to use point slope form. Now we know the slope. Slope we found to be 12. Now we just need to pick a point. Actually, there are several points up there. So Jeff, what's one of the y values we could use? Or pick one for me. Yeah, you have one of those. 1500. So we can plug it in for y1. Now its corresponding x value is 100. It doesn't matter what x, y we pick. We could pick any of those. Now what we're going to do is pick that value and plug it in. Now at this point here, we do need to get y by itself. So the first thing we're going to do is distribute this 12. We're going to multiply it through. 12 times x is 12x. 12 times 100 is 1200. Now the only thing left with y is our 1500. And since it's negative, we're going to add 1500 to both sides. Negative 1500 plus 1500 is 0. Showing us y is equal to 12x. Negative 1200 plus 1500 is going to be plus 300. So Lakeview's equation is y is equal to 12x plus 300. Now this gives us a way to relate the two equations. I wrote the other equation underneath it. You do not have to do that. But when we're looking at these here, these two equations, because the other part of this question, and the reason we have this, is when these two are going to be equal, yes, have the same value. X or Y, which one represents the total cost for each of these venues? Y does, yes? So if we're wanting to know when the total cost is going to be the same, we want to know when the Y's are going to be the same, yes? And if the Y values are the same, it means we need to set these two sides of the equation equal to each other. So what we're saying and what we want to do is we want to set 12x plus 300 equal to 10x plus 600. Because this will tell us what value of x will make these two equations be the same. Yes? What can we do first? We can minus 10x from both sides. Yes? Because 10x minus 10x is 0. So that leaves us with 600 on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, 12x minus 10x is going to be 2x. We still have our 300, but we did get the x's on the same side. What can we do next? Yes, we can minus 300 from both sides. Because we do have the x's on the same side now. 300 minus 300 would cancel out, leaving us with 2x. 600 minus 300 is going to be 300. And lastly, we're going to divide both sides by 2, telling us x is equal to 150. So for them to be the same, there has to be 150 students. Because if there's 150 students, the total cost between the two is going to be the same. Questions on this so far? Yeah. So, if there are 150 students going, which one's going to be the better choice? Because at 150 students, the costs are going to be the same. So it really doesn't matter. Because we could say 10 times 150 plus 300, and it's going to tell us that the total cost is 1,800. Or not 1,800. Because that should be, it's 2,100. I put 300 instead of 600. Because Sunview, 10 times 150 plus 600 gets us here. Now 12 times 150 plus 300 in our second equation also gives us $2,100. So going to either Sunview or Lakeside with 150 students will cost the same amount. So it really doesn't matter which one we pick. They will both be the same. Now it said we had 151 students going. So if 151 students went for Lakeside, or sorry, for Sunview, it would cost $2,110. Lakeside, it would cost $2,112. So dollar values, if we're looking just purely at numbers, focus in, Lakeview is going to be $2 more expensive. But realistically, is that going to make a difference between the two, which one we pick? $2? No. We were going to want something more substantial, something a little bit bigger than just $2. Because unless everything between the two is the exact same in every way, shape, and form, the building, all the amenities, everything, okay, it's still not a big difference. Questions on this here? You guys all right? All right, guys, so we're going to look at one more and compare a third option. Now, Maple Ridge charges a rental fee of $10 per student. The total cost is $1,900 for 140 students. Describe the number. We're going to find the number of students that must attend for the total cost at Maple Ridge to be less than the total cost at the other two venues. Well, the first thing we need is the equation. We need the equation that's going to relate these two together. We need the equation of this line so we can compare it with the other two. All right, guys, let's focus up here. Now, they told us the slope, the cost per student already for Maple View, and it is $10. Now, they did give us a point, because they said for 140 students, the overall cost is $1,900. So we can plug that in, the number of students in for X, the total cost in for Y. And just like the previous equation, we can solve this here. First thing we can do is distribute the 10. 10 times X is 10X. 10 times 140 is 1,400, yes. At this point here, we need to add 1,900 to both sides. These here would cancel out, telling us that Y is equal to 10X plus, well, negative 1,400 plus 1,900 is 500. And that gives us our equation. One more time. Questions on how we found this equation of line? Questions on anything we've done so far? Now we need to compare and see when Maple is going to be cheaper than the other two, yes? Now Maple View and Maple Ridge and Sunview both have the same cost per student, yes? And the starting cost for Maple is less than Sunview, yes? Is there at any point going to be a time where Maple is going to be more expensive than Sunview? No, because the slopes are the same, so they are parallel. And since Maple has a cheaper starting point, it will always be cheaper. So really, we're not focused on Sunview and Maple because Maple's always going to be cheaper. And it was asking how many students will it be cheaper than the other two. So it's always cheaper. So really, we're looking to see when is Maple going to be cheaper than Lakeside, yes. Well, to find out when they're cheaper, it'd be helpful to know when they cost the same amount. Because if we know the point when they're going to be the same cost, we can know from there when it's going to be cheaper. Now at 0 students, Maple is going to be more expensive because the starting amount, the plus 500, is more than the plus 300. Now, just like we did on the previous problem, we just have to solve for x. What can we do first? So we're going to need to move the x's over or the numbers to one side. So what can we do first? All right. We could subtract 12x from both sides because there's more than one first step that we can do from here. Because we could subtract 12x from both sides. We could have also subtracted 10x from both sides. We could have subtracted 500 from both sides, or we could have subtracted 300 from both sides. We just have to pick one of those that we want to do and go from there. Because subtracting 12x from both sides, on the right-hand side, the 12x minus 12x would be 0, leaving us with 300. On the left-hand side, 10x minus 12x is going to be negative 2x, because 10 minus 12 is going to be negative 2. But we still have the plus 500. Now at this point here, we need to get the x by itself, so now we're going to subtract 500. Because on the left-hand side, 500 minus 500 would give us 0, leaving us with negative 2x. Now 300 minus 500 is negative 200. Last thing we need to do is divide both sides by negative 2. Negative 2x divided by negative 2 is x. Negative 200 divided by negative 2 is 100. So at 100 students, the total costs are going to be the same. So Lakeview, 12 times 100 plus 300 gave us 1,500. Maple, 10 times 100 plus 500 gives us 1,500. Okay, let's try it with 99 students. So Lakeview at 99 students is 1,488. Maple is at 1,490. So if at 100 students they're the same, 99 Maple is higher. So let's try 101. So 12 times 101 plus 300. So for Sunview at 101 students we have 1,512. At Maple we have 1,510. So how many students must we have for Maple to be cheaper than the other two? We need 101 or more students for Maple to be cheaper. For Maple to be cheaper, we need 101 students or more. Questions on this here? Questions on finding equations of lines? Okay. That's it. Homework, problems 3 through 9 and 11. 3 through 9, 11. Let's look at the assignment. 3 through 8. 3 through 8, they give you the graph. You need to find the equation of the line and interpret the slope. So you need to find the equation of the line and then say what the slope is telling us. Describe it. As long as you are describing the slope, I will take the answer. I'm not looking for a specific way to write it, but I'm looking to see, did you describe it? Number 8 is just what we did here with the 2 problem venues. That's essentially what number 8 is. Or sorry, number 9. That's what number 9 is. Number 11. Number 11 is error detection. There is something wrong in what they said in that statement. 2 things you have to do. 1, state the error, state what they did wrong, and 2, fix it. Because there is something wrong in the statement they said about the slope and or the amount.